There are some so-called safe havens like gold, which has been doing very well. But the way it's been moving is telling us we are on the cusp of the market's breaking and the financial system's breaking. And unfortunately, gold and precious metals usually get pulled down temporarily for it. I think it's going to be the best opportunity for gold in the longer run. We're going to see gold and silver pull back. And hopefully late this year, early next year will be that last opportunity to get in to precious metals before I think we see a 4, 5, 6 year rally, and it'll be awesome. It'll be amazing to be into physical metals and mining stocks. I see gold by the end of 2026 being like 3,500, which isn't huge, but I think that's the start where it could really rocket higher after that and get into the 5,000, 7,000 range.
Join our WhatsApp channel for real-time updates, breaking news, and expert predictions on gold, silver, and financial markets. Link in the description or pin comment. Stay ahead of the curve. Don't miss out. Make sure to tune in for our expert analysis. Don't miss out on future content. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay in the loop. Your support is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what'll happen with treasuries. It's kind of a little worrisome. Who knows what will happen there? But there's a lot of people saying, there's record amounts of cash on the sidelines. The stock market's going higher. I mean, I'm the complete opposite. I think things are about to fall apart and catch most people off guard. But there's also more money out there. So you need a lot more money to make it kind of viable. Like if you compare how much money was out there before and sitting on the sidelines compared to how much money's out here now and sitting on the sidelines, yeah, it's a much bigger number, but really it's still, people are looking for protection, and there's more people close to retirement or retired now than ever before, which is why there's also, I think, a huge chunk of cash. People just don't want to risk their lifestyle. They don't want to risk their life savings. There's so much uncertainty. So it could be a trap. I think one of the biggest, scariest things, I think, is a lot of people might sell their equities and move their money to their bank, or sell some of their real estate and move their money to the bank. And then, of course, I think a big concern is the banks might go bankrupt, or maybe, and right. So you go to protection, and then your bank blows up. I think it's more of a threat in the States, but I mean, it could happen anywhere. And I think that's one of the reasons we see a lot of people moving to physical gold, because, hey, you got gold, it's out of the banks, it's out of the financial system, it's in your own hands or third-party vault, right? And I think that's the reason why we saw gold do so well just before the 2008 crisis. People just liquidating and saying, I am not putting my money in the bank. I'll take a physical block of steel and bury it. And that's what's going on now globally. Gold is that global, to me, barometer of what people are thinking and feeling. And the fact that we're hitting all-time highs is telling us that the world is nervous. They don't trust banks. They don't trust other assets, and they want to hold something physical that's not manipulated, or not manipulated, but not held by another company that could just vanish, go out of business with all your wealth. Yeah, I definitely think the financial markets and gold they're everything's, as soon as there's money involved, there's always some manipulation. I think the markets are very manipulated. I think the gold market is. Sometimes the manipulation can get you out of a trade or throw you off. But generally, the manipulation, I don't follow very short-term trends. So I'm not worried about too much short-term manipulation. I look at bigger waves and cycles in the market that last hopefully 20 to like 60 or 90 days. So usually manipulation is a little bit shorter term than that, I think, in terms of really affecting you. So I'm always looking at the tide. Is it going up or down? And the manipulation is usually very short-term movements that will throw us off. It'll kind of buck the short-term trend, but it won't kick us out of a trade. But you're right. I mean, I did an article a long time ago. I'm actually about to do a video on it, showing the Kitco chart. You know how you can see the pre-market, the last 3 days, and they overlay the price with, I think, a green, red, and blue line. I have a little strategy on how to trade that every day, every morning, not every morning, but when there's a setup, simply because the markets are clearly manipulated. When buyers step in or sellers step in every day, or usually repeats, when there's a certain criteria of whatever happens today, you mimic it tomorrow, and you can play the same window of time and play against it. So they're clearly manipulated. I mean, technical analysis seems to do very well. It doesn't seem to throw us off the game, really. And I think maybe it's even woven into almost how the analysis that I do works. So yeah, I found ways so it doesn't throw me off the game. I look at gold very differently than how I trade and invest with stocks and bonds. So to me, I only really hold physical gold. If we're in a raging bull market, I might trade ETFs around in miners, but I'm a big fan of physical gold. I look at gold as an insurance plan in case a currency blows up or there's a crisis. You have something that you can pay with. You have something that should skyrocket in value to counter the drop in value of your currencies, of your savings, of your real estate, whatever it is. So I look at gold as an insurance plan. I don't really sell it. I only ever accumulate more physical. And I totally think what's going on is very fishy. Something is up, and you need to have physical gold. If you don't have any, I think you should have some. And if there's any lower pricing over the next year or so, I think that'll be probably the last opportunity before whatever's unfolding. The charts are pointing to a huge upside move over the next, starting within the next year or so. And then what's going on with what you just mentioned, there's definitely something brewing. So I think it's going to be very critical to have physical metals and accumulate it, because it doesn't really make sense. It's blatantly obvious that something is up, but of course we won't know until after it's done. The bigger the formation, the bigger the upside potential. And I mean, silver's got it's got pretty big upside. I mean, it shows that the first target, if it was to really take off from here, would be about $57 per ounce. I think silver is going to go into the 80s and probably break into the 100 mark and beyond. I think it's going to go pretty crazy, but the time's not here just yet. But these big patterns definitely play out. They take a long time. As you said, it's a 50-year kind of chart pattern. So it could take, many years, a decade to fully unfold. But silver is that rocket ship. That's what I like about it, is when we are in a bull market and money's flowing in, you definitely want to hold silver, because, man, does it ever go straight up. And same with gold. Gold's had a big pattern as well. And it is pointing to, way up in the 35 and $5,500 ranges when you extend upside targets with momentum. It's percentage-wise isn't nearly as big as it is for silver, but gold is kind of the more stable asset class. But I think over the next year, gold's going to struggle. I think it could be down at 2,400 again. I think it's going to pull back with the economy, with big selling. It really depends on what this wild card is with the U.S. bringing in so much gold. Like, what are they doing? What's their plan of some new regulation or something? But given there's no black swan event like that that'll spark gold specifically, I do think it'll be under pressure. But I see gold by the end of 2026 being like 3,500, which isn't huge, but I think that's the start where it could really rocket higher after that and get into the 7,000 range. But it's going to, obviously, we need to see how things are going to unfold. I think the next 4 years with Trump is going to be really wild in terms of what's going on. And, there's a lot of crazy politics going on with the U.S. really trying to take over Canada. So trying to become another state, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty. And I think that's one of the reasons why gold is also holding up so much, is just because there's so much uncertainty. So I would say the end of 2026, we'll see gold and silver hitting new all-time highs again. I think there'll be a pullback in between there, but then they'll be off to the races. And after that, I think it's going to be a 4, 5, 6 year massive rally in metals, and the AI space is a game changer. We're going to come out of this recession, and it's going to be a totally new world, new industry, new everything.
Despite recent price fluctuations, the long-term outlook for gold and silver remains highly optimistic, driven by economic uncertainty and shifting investor sentiment. While short-term technical indicators suggest a temporary pullback, historical trends show that both metals experience strong rebounds in bullish cycles. With central banks increasing their reserves and market conditions favoring safe haven assets, the potential for a sustained rally remains intact. As global markets evolve, the key question arises: are gold and silver on the verge of an explosive breakout, or will short-term pressures delay their upward momentum? Share your perspective in the comments section.
Don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to stay updated with more content like this, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss a video.